Okay. Okay, cool. We're live. Okay. Awesome. Glad. Thank you for pushing through it. Oh, you can hear me too. That's really good. I am glad to hear it, and I am glad to see the excitement. Oh, I'm so sorry about the stream issues. Okay. So, thank you for I guess like bringing some visibility on this because there's a non-zero chance that I would have just continued talking to myself and just been like, I have no idea what's going on. Uh, anyway, yeah, this is the power of lettuce at work. Y'all know what the deal is. Okay, so I'm sorry for the YouTube folks. I'm gonna be restarting this because we do not leave anybody behind. Not my fellow lettuce heads. Okay. So here we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is the Making Better Hacks Faster with GitHub Copilot, which is a super cool tool, which we will talk about very, very soon. I'm Ryan. I'm a coach on Major League Hacking. Oh my gosh, this stream color is better now too. Okay, so if you were on YouTube earlier, like 20 minutes ago, you would have seen that like when I was sharing my screen, the colors were super blown out. It's all fixed now, which is super rad. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, this is me. This is how many hackathons I've been to. Actually, that number is out of date. I need to fix that. But yeah, so the agenda for today is we're going to talk a lot about GitHub Copilot. We're going to talk about why you should use it. We're going to talk about how to get it set up. And then we're going to talk about actually using it and how to be super efficient with it. Good stuff, right? So, GitHub Copilot, it is your AI programmer. And oh no, I think it got blown out again. I can't really tell. It's a really white screen. Uh, so basically, it's like having like ChatGPT or Claude Sonnet or any of the other large language models that you would normally have in another browser, but it sits in your code editor, so it understands the context that you're working in, the code that you're working with, and it's like all the files and all the whatnots. And even cooler is that it comes with a little bit of prompt engineering built in. So if you use certain commands, it can help you do some other really cool things. Um, just like, a lot more targeted. So, uh, studies have shown that if you were to use GitHub Copilot, you're going to end up roughly 55% faster at implementing whatever it is that you're building. So we got this cool tagline: "Is 37 hours of work turned into 24 hours of flow." All right, let's get started about like talking about getting it set up. The really neat thing about GitHub Copilot is that even if you are a hardcore like Vim user or a hardcore like GUI editor, it kind of works anywhere. And like these are like the five really major ones. And a lot of others, like major code editors or text editors, are forks of these ones. So it probably works in whatever text editor you're trying to use. If it doesn't, it still works through the command line interface. So technically speaking, it is super duper portable, which is super neat. Now, for the purpose of our demonstration, we're going to be doing things in Visual Studio Code, just because it is probably one of the most common ones, and it's an open source project, which is, we love open source. So we're going to get things started with a live demo on how to do things. This is right around where we stopped off before we had to restart the stream. So basically, we're going to be using this thing that's called GitHub Code Spaces. I did have a window open for this earlier. So here we go. So GitHub Code Spaces. If you don't know, GitHub Code Spaces is it allows you to run a full instance of Visual Studio Code in your browser. I don't know why I looked this up without actually clicking on the first link. Uh, Basically, it allows you to get a full version of VS Code in your browser, which means that you can program anywhere that you can run a browser, which means you can run it on smartwatches and tablets too. I don't know how usable it's going to be because when people design VS Code, it wasn't designed for that kind of form factor, but it is totally possible to do it. The really neat thing though is if you see here, it can actually run like actual scripts, which means there's an actual computer behind this. Um, yeah, uh, VS Code plus GitHub plus web. That is that is what's going on here. So yeah, it's super neat. And the really neat thing, I really like using it because of this bit, the isolated environments. So if you're like me and you didn't do a very good job of cleaning up like all of the libraries and dependencies, and you're worried about like file pathing and all that stuff with pointing to like executables and like language installs and whatnot, um, then it's really nice because VS Code, like GitHub Code Spaces, already comes with a lot of those kind of baked in. So enough about the advert on GitHub Code Spaces. It gives you on the free plan, it gives you like a lot of storage and a lot of hours that you can build. Like 120 hours is what? That's 3 weeks out of every month of like a full-time like job if you're working like 40 hours a week. So actually no, that's like 3 days of 40 hours a week, which okay, I'm kind of losing it. The point is that 120 core hours is a lot of time. And you get actually even more if you're on the student developer pack, which we're going to be showing you how to get set up today. But that is me jumping ahead. So the first thing we're going to do is, if you're going to be following along on Codespaces and doing what it is that I'm doing, then you're going to look up MLH and you're just going to do / Copilot starter. Da 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 da. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna dump this in chat. And the way that you would use CodeSpace to get running on this is to go into code. What did you miss? You haven't missed too much yet. I was just talking about how awesome Copilot was and how to get started using it. And I just finished a little advert on what CodeSpaces is, but now we're going to demonstrate what CodeSpaces is and like how to actually use it. So after you find a repo, or you can make your own repo, you can set up. You can jump into code spaces by clicking onto code, and instead of going to the local tab and just like downloading things on, like on your computer, um, we're going to hop over to the code spaces tab, and we're just going to go ahead and create a code space on main. And so this is going to open up our beautiful Visual Studio Code editor. And it's actually going to load in like all of the extensions that I have installed and like synced to my GitHub profile, which is pretty neat. It can be a bit heavy if you have like a lot of extensions, which I generally do, which kind of hurts. So it's probably going to take a little bit and then freak out a little bit because of all the stuff that I've got going on. Anyway, so once you load in, this is not necessarily what you will see. Actually, no, this should be what it is that you see, because when you run code spaces, it runs some defaults and looks for what kind of like repo it is that we have, and it saw that we have a Flask app, and so it already ran a script to try to run this thing like immediately. And it actually ran before like all my extensions loaded in. So you can see that we don't even have the syntactic sugar that says, yeah, this is Python. Anyway, so what it is that I wanted to show you is how to actually install the Copilot extension. Now, installing it, I found, and syncing it to your GitHub profile works a lot better if you work on the native app. But I'm going to show you how to do it in here, just so that it's easier for y'all to see. Basically, you just pop over to the extensions tab over on the left sidebar, unless you've moved the sidebar, in which case you should know what it is. Um, if it's hidden, you can just like toggle it back in by right-clicking on this tab, and then you just toggle in the thing that you want back. So if you want extensions back, you just do that. Nice and easy. You're just going to look up Copilot over in the extensions marketplace. And we're just going to go ahead and install the very first one. The second one comes with the first one, so just install the first one. It's already got like 22 million installs, so like it should be pretty safe to use. And of course it is, because it's literally like verified from the GitHub team. Anyway, you'll know it's like fully installed when it says uninstall, or in the bottom right hand corner. It's a bit small. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit so y'all can see it. So over in the right-hand corner, or depending on where you might have moved the status menu, you should see a little Copilot avatar over here. Now, if you haven't set up with the Student Developer Pack, um, there might be a slash over the Copilot's face, which is really unfortunate because how is the Copilot going to see anything if there's a giant slash in front of their face? That basically means that it's not enabled yet. And so I'm going to show you how to get enabled with that. But before we do that, let's just see if there's anything else going on. Okay. Normally, Copilot and a lot of the other LLMs that sit in your developer environments, it costs money to use because you're running a really powerful like large language model on somebody's computer, whether it's your own or on some cloud computer. Now, normally, Copilot costs about $10 a month. With the Student Developer Pack, we don't have to worry about that because it is completely free, which is something that we love to see. So the way to actually claim this is with whoop, that's not clickable. mlh.link/pack. It's also in the Discord announcements, and I will type it in chat. mlh.link/pack. And here we go. There we go. Yeah. So this will be free as long as you're a student, because when you, I guess, like submit your request for it, it's going to look for like graduation day, and so if you've like graduated or not, it's going to figure that out. That's part of the catch. It's not really a catch. It's more of like your verification things. Anyway, yeah, you pop over here, and if you enter in this link, it'll pull you up to a page that looks something like this. And you'll know that you're in the right place because at the end of this, it's got this little like question mark. And then it says UTM source equals blah, 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 blah. That's basically just giving us a query and the YouTube thing. And this is like how like affiliate links work and like partner links work. And so in this case, we're basically saying to GitHub that, hey, we are students and we're taking advantage of this Copilot thing. So we do this, then you're actually going to be able to get up and running with GitHub Copilot like super duper fast, like possibly even today, like at this minute fast. Normally it takes about 7 to 10 business days to roll out. There are sometimes issues with like how fast it happens, the verification process, and sometimes there's an issue with the rollout of it, but you can always just try resubmitting or other things. If not, it's eventually going to come in. Yeah. Okay. So some things that will really make this process a lot smoother is you got to make sure you have a GitHub account in order to use the thing. And it also helps a lot to make sure that you have two-factor authentication. Um, da, 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 da. Oh, you know what? I have a like feeling that most of these things, the GitHub team like checks for when you're signing up for the Student Developer Pack. Normally, I just recommend like you get the two-factor authentication up on your GitHub account first, and that should make it really fast to verify. So I'll show you real quick how to do that. So let's see, where's the good place to look? Okay, so basically, you pop into GitHub, you go into your settings, bam, bam. Okay. Make sure you have a name on there. Doesn't have to be. Actually, it's pretty reasonable to have your real name on this. Even if you're trying to be like a white hat like cybersecurity person, or like you want to be like very like anonymous on the internet, like it helps to have like a public GitHub. And then if you want to be doing some other things, you can always have like a secondary one where you want to be like anonymous and like working on like public things and whatnots. Thank you. I appreciate the love for the appreciation for my profile picture. If you can't tell, my last name is Lay, so I kind of leaned into it a little bit. um, okay, So when you're trying to get past the GitHub student verification thing, it really helps to have two-factor authentication. So the way you find this is you just pop over here, password and authentication, and if you don't know what a passkey is, this is something useful to have if you like to actually develop things locally, like in your computer. It basically lets you to set up like a SSH key, which means you don't have to enter your password when pushing commits, which is really neat. Yeah, Lays. So many potato chips. Okay, but the main thing that we're looking at today is we're looking for two-factor authentication. So I personally really like using passkeys. Um, Passkeys are a cool feature where it it's a passwordless way to log in. And so it opens up, at least for GitHub, it opens up like a QR code, and you just scan the QR code with your phone, and then uses the biometrics of your phone to log you in, which is super neat. Uh, I also have the Authenticator app because I actually don't mind having the GitHub app on my phone. You can do any of these other things, but yeah, set up two-factor authentication is like one thing that will make your process a lot easier when setting up with the student developer pack. And then the other thing that you can do is you should go over to emails. I'm going to duck myself a little bit. Uh, Basically, you need to make sure that your school email account is your primary email account on your GitHub profile. And that makes it a lot easier for GitHub to check. It's like, oh yeah, you are indeed a student. Even though I have my personal email in here too. Yeah. Anyway, once you have those things up, those are like the bare minimum. It looks like it also really encourages you to have, I wouldn't worry about the billing affiliation. I would personally add a photo, some name, and something. It seems like that they might use that to check this like, oh, is this a real person? They might be like really suspicious of an account that's like really young too on GitHub, so that might make things a little bit slower. I personally also have a README on my public GitHub profile. It hasn't been updated in a little bit, and at one stage I got kind of like really moody, and I tried to be really cool and like put like oh, here's like some things that I wanted to do, and I still haven't really done these things. But anyway, if you make a GitHub repo that is the same name as your GitHub profile, you can make a custom like README page on your GitHub profile. So whenever people look you up on GitHub, this is what they can see, and like this is if I just pop into here, this is the repo. It's just really funny because the you have your profile name and then you have your profiler name again, and that's the thing. But yeah, special repository, it will appear on my public profile. And there is another special repository that's if you have the name of your profile and then you add like .github.io, that's another public, I guess like special thing. Anyway, it sounds like if you have one of these, you might get expedited a little bit faster. Anyway, the main thing is after you get all of that, you basically just pop into here, you add in your school, and then after you add in your school, it really wants to know your address to make sure that you're in the region of the school that you say that you're in. Potatoes and lettuce. Yes. In my past life, I was probably a farmer. So this might actually be throwing hands at me because I already have like my student developer pack thing is expired because I used to have it, and then I graduated, so now I don't really have it anymore. My first time attending GHW sessions, email notification says to ask your coach for a Copilot sticker if you haven't received one already. Awesome. So I think that email notification is probably for if you were at like an in-person hackathon, because that's normally where we have the Copilot stickers. Um, I can't answer that, but I can ask my team to see if we can do something about that. If not, ping Mary at MLH, and she should be able to get you set up for that. Maybe like toss it into the swag pack that you're gonna get at the end of GHW. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, sorry about it. I do hope that you get that Copilot sticker. If you don't actually get it like through the GHW things, I can almost guarantee that you will get it if you go to an in-person like Major League Hacking hackathon. Because we almost certainly like always have extra Copilot stickers. Okay. Anyway, yeah, you do this thing. It's going to ask you to also upload some proof of it's like, oh yeah, I am indeed a student. So you're basically just going to need like your student ID, and it really helps if you have the name of the school on your student ID as well as your expected graduation date. Uh, if it doesn't, but it's on the back side of your um, ID card, then you could take like a photo stitching tool, take pictures of the front and back, and then upload that as like one image. That might help. Uh, as a last resort, you can also upload your academic transcript. That says like, yeah, I'm a student. These are the grades and classes that I'm taking, and like when I'm expected to graduate. The main thing is that they just need the school and expected graduation date and your name, and you should be pretty much set up. So there'll be like a new component that pops up over here that says, yeah, you've submitted a request to apply for the discount, and it could say pending. And if it says pending, then that means it's still trying to like validate you. If it says like passed or approved, there are two possible colors it could be in, which is green. If it is green, that means you are approved, and they are working on rolling out the benefits to your account as soon as possible. If it is purple, that means that the benefits have already been rolled out to your account, which means you can start using everything under the student developer pack already. And so you should keep an eye out for an email there. What happens if you change schools? I That is a fantastic question. I I don't know because I haven't changed schools and I haven't seen what happens when you change schools with this. That sounds like something that we can talk to GitHub about and try to figure out what's going on there. Um, Worst cases, like you just resubmit and say, hey, I'm in like I guess if your first school got approved, then you're totally fine. You don't have to worry about it unless GitHub says, "Oh, it's time to revalidate or re-verify." Otherwise, you just re-verify with your new school. Like, that's the best that I can do for you. I'm sorry if that doesn't really help out too much. Um, but the really neat thing about this is when you also get the student developer pack, it actually comes with a whole bunch of other stuff. The highlights for the other stuffs is that you get GitHub Pro for free, which gives you a bunch of other, like it gives you more code space hours. It gives you a bunch more GitHub Actions, which is the thing that like runs in the background. I'm not going to explain what GitHub Actions is right now, but it is cool. It is really neat. And then the student developer pack, which comes with I mean, you already have access to all of the GitHub like skills and like learning stuffs. But you actually also get like these things. I don't know what most of these things are, to be honest. I know what DigitalOcean is. It's like a cloud provider. But yeah, you get all of this other stuff as well as like all these learning resources with the student developer pack. The biggest thing though is probably GitHub Pro and GitHub Copilot. Anyway, so that's that. If you hopefully y'all have been like starting to work on that while I was kind of just blabbing about like how to do the GitHub things. So I'm gonna keep on moving on. If you're having an issue, You can also delete your ID and make a new one with your new school ID. Good to know. I'm assuming you're talking about like in the student developer pack thing. Whoop. Oh, I already deleted remove the tab. So I actually can't do that because mine's expired after I graduated. But I would give that a shot if you're still worried about like the transitioning schools thing. So now we're actually going to talk about using GitHub Copilot. The rest of the slide deck is just like how to actually run it. So I don't actually need this anymore because I'm going to give y'all a live demo on how to use it. Let me know in chat if you're having any issues with following along or like doing any of these things, especially the GitHub Copilot bit, and I'll see what I can do to help out. But once you're approved, if you pop in over here, you may need to log in to GitHub for the GitHub Copilot chat thing. But if it says status is ready, then you should be pretty chillin'. And you can open up that menu by clicking the little Copilot menu down there. Okay, so, oh, yeah, it looks like we also have a new window over here. GitHub actually recently held GitHub Universe, which is where they have like all of the updates for all things GitHub. And so they made a bunch of changes to like how GitHub Copilot works and where it lives. It used to live over in the left over here, but now it's moved over to the right, which is pretty neat. And it looks like there's a few other things that are over here, which is also really neat. I I have not seen this thing before, so I'll need to figure out how to play with that. I'm more used to with the actual chat window. Anyway, so we pop over here in code spaces. We will see that there's a bunch of errors going on, and it's kind of hard to read, which is a huge bummer. I actually haven't tried this before. Normally, what you can do is you could Control I or Command I, and you can just open up a chat thing. No, like basically in the context of whatever it is that you're looking at. So normally we would do that like in the actual file itself. Like you do Control I, you open up a little chat window. But you can also do that in the terminal. I wonder if chat's gonna be able to figure this out. So it's like, hi chat. What is this error and how do I fix it? Okay, maybe it's being a little confused just because it can't actually type anything because the server is still live. So what we can do is we can use our reading comprehension to just kind of look through here and see if there's any intelligible error messages. So this very last thing, here it is, type error. The view function did not return a valid response. Words, lots of words. I'm just going to copy and paste this. And then I'm going to ask Copilot how to fix it. Now, instead of asking the chat window, because I actually want chat to help me write the fix, I'm actually going to highlight the code that I wanted to look at. So if I wanted it to look at the whole file, I could just go in here and do like a Control I. I could pop it in here and just be like, fix this. Or I could also highlight the like suspicious code that I'm kind of confused about to actually get things working. But I guess before we even try to fix this, we should probably just like ask chat, like, what is this? And so you'll see, chat actually figured out that the context of my question was asking chat to explain what's going on, and so it spat out this beautiful thing, which is kind of hard to read. I would prefer to actually see that in this side window. So if I just put view in chat, lo and behold, it pops up. Ain't that a fancy? And so it's a lot easier to read this way. So we can see that it says a lot of things, it's importing a lot of things, and there's some clickable links, which is always neat to see, but I don't really want to read that. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to ask it to add documentation. And what it's going to do is it's going to write documentation on what is going on. We can just go ahead and accept that. And then I also wanted to add a doc here. Bam Bambino. Now, I've had a couple of times where chat was a little bit silly and puts these comments not inside the definition of the function. It does happen. Sorry, I kind of kept on blabbing and I didn't even check chat. Yapper AI. I certainly hope you're talking about the chat agent and not about me. Um, anyway, okay, so basically I can't follow along as long as I don't have my student account verified. It's going to be a lot more difficult to follow along if you don't have your student account because you won't have Copilot, so you won't be able to do all of this fun stuff. Thank you for answering in chat too. I appreciate that. But honestly, this workshop's going to be recorded, so you can find it on YouTube under the MLH account. So you can follow along in the future. So if you're here from the future, talking about Copilot. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate the clarification. Yeah, no, Copilot likes to chat a lot. Actually, that's just large language models. They like to chat a lot. Okay, anyway, so we see that we've got some documentation, and this first one, it seems like it returns the number of seconds since the Unix epoch. Blah 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 blah. Returns the number of seconds since the epoch. Okay, cool. So it kind of repeated itself there, but I guess that's because it literally just runs this other function. So that's a little bit redundant. We're just going to remove that. Okay, and so we remember that we actually had this type error. We still haven't fixed this. So I don't actually know. Let's just pretend that this is a larger code base and I don't know where this error came from. I could just highlight the whole thing, ask chat, just be like fix, and then just pop in the type error. And it's going to use some big brain logic to figure out what to do. Da 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 da. And we can see that it used one reference, which is this file, seconds, returning an integer, but Flask expects a string or other valid response type. And so what it's done is it's typecasted our return element. And so now it says seconds since last epoch, and it's wrapped it in a string. So if we pop over to Symbol Browser, maybe refresh this, there it is. We see a seconds thing. And so that is, well, it's not very stylish right now because this is a very basic like Flask app. If you don't know what Flask is, it's a Python library for making web development. And so you write Python and it puts it on the web, which is pretty neat. Whew. Okay, so that was a lot of yapping. I'm going to show you some other cool things that I've learned with chat. Actually, I learned this one from a hacker. I learned that if you do @ inside the chat window, you can change the places that it's looking in, or like the context that it's looking in. And so we can see that there's some descriptions on where it's looking. If you want to look at like other people's code on GitHub that's publicly licensed and all the whatnots, you could just do @GitHub. It's just like, how do I Flask good? I don't actually know what's going to show up, but oh, there you go. Cool. So it actually gave us a really neat like architectural style, which is something that's always important in order for you to pick up like a new library or something, like try to have like good architecture. Anyway, another really neat thing is, let's say you had like a larger project. What you can do is you can add like in the workspace, you could say, hey, where is, whoop, at workspace, where is all the logic for handling time? And so if we had like, let's say this is a more complicated workspace, it can actually like find out what line and like what files it is that refer to a certain like line of code or what all the whatnots, which is really neat. And so if you don't like that response, you can actually just ask it to retry. You can give them a thumbs up. Oh, there we go. Chat's trying its darndest. We just give them a nice thumbs up. This is like giving chat like a cookie because it's been a good chat. Okay. Other cool things. This is not as related to Copilot, but I think there's some really cool shortcuts that I use a lot in VS Code specifically. I don't know if every code editor is like this. So you may have heard of Control F, which is the find thing. And so if you pop in here and you wanted to rename everything that says seconds to like minutes, for example, we can go ahead and do that. And we can go ahead and just wrap everything around that. We would actually have to change the time thing, and we can ask chat to help us with that. Can you refactor this code to return minutes instead of seconds? Bam, bam. Bam. There we go. And so if we were to run this, let's just see. It used to be this big number of 17 something somethings. Now it's something that's a lot smaller. I'm not going to do the math to figure out if that's right, because I guess like, if we look at the logic, it just says like you're dividing it by 60. Yes, always give the thumbs up to be safe in the AI apocalypse. we gotta put in our good bot karma in now. Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So I just showed you how easy it is to, refactor it for other things. Like Copilot's very useful. I was talking about Control F earlier. If you do Control Shift F, you open up what I like to call Superfind, which basically searches in the entirety of like your workspace for mentions of whatever it is that you're looking for. And so if you need to do a replacement everywhere, you can do it that way. And these little toggles are also really useful. I would almost never use a regular expression because I'm bad at rejects. But neat thing is that Copilot is really good at rejects. Oh no, 404. I'm so sorry that you have a fever. Thanks for dropping in. I really appreciate it. I hope you get better soon. Okay. We'll do strict word matching. So this basically says that it won't actually find the thing if it's like part of something bigger. Like if we had min, right? That shows up in a few places. But if we were to do whole word search, this just says, hey, unless I see the word min all by itself, I'm not actually going to include it. But if we were to include minutes, we'll see that it doesn't include this one, but it does include this one, which is super neat. Some other cool stuff is I actually use this one a lot, which is the Alt. You click, you're going to have multiple cursors running around. So if you want to delete things on several lines at the same time, you can do it that way. If you do Control Alt and then arrow key, you can open it up on multiple lines. Skip to the very end of it with like the ends keyboard, and then you can edit the ends multiple lines. Let's see. Another shortcut that I like is if you just do Control B, you can open and close this thing. If you are in a README or like some other markdown file and you run to see the preview for that, you can do Control Shift V, and that's just going to open up a new tab, like a preview tab, which I think is really neat. And Control J or Command J. Whoop! You do not need to see the downloads. If you're on the native app, then it basically just hides the terminal. Because I'm in a browser, it triggered all of the shortcuts that are also related to that. So that just opened up my downloads folder since I'm using Brave right now. Anyway, I think that's it for this stream. You know the one where you highlight a line, then Alt arrow up or down? Opening the input box thingy. Oh yeah, it's Control I or Command I if you're on Windows, or sorry, Mac. Yes. Alt. Yeah. That is honestly like one of my favorite shortcuts to use. The Alt Shift, skip to the end of the line. This app isn't like big enough or like doesn't have like any examples I can come up with for like why I would want to skip to the very end of it. I use it a lot personally for doing like web dev things. So this is a sneak preview of the next workshop that's gonna happen in like 2 minutes. No, I had to restart the code space. I left it alone for too long. Gotta wait for it to reload. But yeah, it's really useful for if you're doing any web dev things. So you do the Control Alt arrow keys, and then you skip to the very end of the tag, and then you could do Control to continue skipping words around, and Shift to like highlight several words. So in this example, I was actually doing this earlier today. Like earlier, I wanted to edit all of these links. So if I wanted to grab, or like, let's say I had a list of all of these links, right? And I forgot to fill in the tag contents. I could just highlight this, control all the way back, grab that. Now it's a little bit funny just because like some of these don't have the what's it called? The www dot. So then when I do the control skipping, it gets a little janky. There's probably a better example of this. But you're gonna have to join me at the next workshop. I'm gonna need to restart the stream so that I can rename this, so that it'll all be like cached properly in the YouTube things. Anyway, I'll see you all very, very soon if you want to stick around for the next workshop. I'm at highlighting at a time. You hold Alt and arrow. Oh yes, yeah. That is a really neat shortcut too. I like doing this a lot too. Basically, if you do Alt without the control, Alt and arrow, you can move a single line on like different lines. So if we wanted to move this thing down here, we could do that. If we wanted to move this whole comments thing, control, or sorry, Alt arrow lets you move a whole bunch of like code at the same time. Okay, that is all I have time for. I really mean it. There's probably going to be some other like cool tips that are going to drop in the next workshop. So follow along there if you want to see more. I will see you all very soon. I gotta run the next stream. So adios. Join me for creating a unique web dev portfolio very, very soon. All right. See you soon. Bye.